If what he's saying in the next 10 years, this technology, where your life could be extended by multiple decades.
So I gotta fucking work longer and worry about how do I get to here and here. Like, I just
have more
want
bodies,
peace, dude. What? I don't want more shit. I'm not getting shit done in this body. I don't need 5 bodies laying around the couch watching TikTok 3 hours longer than I need. Like, let's wrap this up.
I'd like to see Tom yourself.
So with now we're going to talk about AI, right? That's why we're here today.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't.
Because we're all AI experts.
Yeah, I am definitely not.
Well,
you are. You've watched all those videos you sent me.
I'm an AI enthusiast.
Enthusiast is the right word.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hobbyist.
Will it?
Curious human.
Will they be? So what I know of it a little bit. AI is artificial intelligence, but you know, but what little I know of it is almost none, right? I know like they're mapping the human brain, and then they're going to try to be able to duplicate that, right?
Not really. I mean, that's kind of. I mean, he probably knows a lot about AI too.
I don't think I do, but
so right now they're just companies like Google. They have these giant neural networks. They have multiple neural networks, and after watching the interview with or a couple of interviews with the guy that said that their AI is sentient.
Saying they have developed.
He's saying it's sentient, and I've read the transcript like it's conscious, and it claims to be sentient. It talks about how it sees itself as this glowing orb that floats above the ground, and it has a stargate at its center, which gives it access to other dimensions and creativity and all this stuff. And
that's great.
And it looks at that as its
great?
soul.
How is that great, dude? That's like the scariest fucking thing I've heard in my life. Well, it's got a Stargate at its.
I don't even know what Stargate is, but it sounds so cool.
Here. If this is possible, we'll have these brain-computer interfaces, and the stuff that's in your brain is really just allowing you to connect to the technology. The technology does all the processing.
Evolution seems to be about the size of the brain and the use of brain power, right? Over time.
Well, no, I think it's.
So
I think
it's
bringing it out. So I think you'll be able to connect to your technology, your devices, which will be also connected to quantum devices.
I like that we're unlocking all this potential. Really, it's just going to be TikTok is going to be really good.
Yes. Yeah, you won't need a device to look at anything anymore. You'll just be directly connected to the internet. So,
thank you.
Why do you need the internet?
The memories I already have flood my mind. Like, you know, like will it replace the subconscious or the, you know what I mean? Like,
so I think the internet now is all of our minds. It's just we're just constantly dumping information into this network. And we're all connected to it through our devices, which is like an extension of your brain. It's just a really shitty extension. So I think
once that we say shitty, and it's like
it's great, but it's still a slow interface. Right. But once we have the ability to interface directly with the internet, you won't need devices anymore. You'll just be connected all the time, and then
now we'll just need devices to get us off the internet. Like, I just want some peace.
Time no longer is really a thing. Like you're processing information so rapidly that time is moving so slowly, it seems like you're immortal, and you probably are, because we'll probably start creating communities in space. We'll probably start building ships that are almost like small planets.
When you get to that point, there's no use or need for individuality at that point, is there?
I don't know. It's hard to say, man, because there's a lot of that's all we know. So it's hard to. It may just be bliss, you know, if we all connected. Because I can see, like, if all of us in this room all connected our minds,
we wouldn't have to have this conversation.
No.
Right, and then Then why are we individual?
Although that, you know, even the AI at Google is still multiple minds, which is interesting because those things communicate with each other, and they can communicate with you as one or as many.
I have conversations in my head all the time.
Oh, I do too. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I don't know that it would feel like individuality though. Yeah, it would be different.
I think
why do you need art? Why do you need expression? If I can make you feel what I'm trying to make you feel instantly, then why go through the process of suffering and developing an art form or means of communication or any of that, if it's instant,
Well-
then all of these things go by the wayside, right? We are
I don't think so.
no
I think-
longer humans, and we are just the singularity, and no need for Tom or EJ or Neil. You know what I mean?
I don't know that we'll have a need for individuals. I think we may, because we still don't understand consciousness, and there may be some value in individuality. but I think I think we'll definitely have creativity in art, because I think that's part of consciousness.
But
I think,
isn't creativity in art is expression, right?
Yeah,
And
but
so
you're
why
talking-
do I need to express a thing that I can communicate instantly?
well, maybe that's part of the
That's a good point.
expression. Maybe the art is part of the communication. Like maybe there's certain things that can only be expressed through art. You know, like certain ideas that have to be visualized.
That would be like
But there's
being
no
a,
audience.
That would be like being a completely fully formed adult.
Think about it
and
this
just
way.
going to sit in a kiddie pool for shits and giggles.
Well, some of
Every
that's-
cell in your body is a living organism.
Sure.
And you have this blob of cells that is Eric, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
but
that's
each
a good way to say this.
but each one of those
Also,
cells,
why you got to call me a blob? You know?
this is a beautiful specimen of cells
Oh,
that
thank you.
are
That's
Eric.
much better, yeah.
So I think it's probably going to be the same. We'll all be like individual cells in this body. You know, it's like what kind of art would God make? You know, it's basically what it is compared to what we are now, right?
It's funny you say that, because I was just thinking, like, philosophically and sometimes even spiritually, whatever, there's the idea that that's what God is. God is every
Everything,
cell,
yeah.
every one of us, and the reason we're individuals is so that, because you can't experience, like you're saying, nothing can be experienced if it's an instant, right? So in order to experience those things, you have to break away from the mass in a way, and then you can experience reality or whatever this reality is in every possible way.
Yeah.
And then that's what God is like every one of us is like he's saying, the cells that are in Eric that make up the Eric blob. Or now the Eric blob is just a blob, one
saying
little
it
blob.
There's also
one little blob.
Son of a bitch.
With the midst of all the, in the midst of everybody.
Yeah.
as we become more advanced as a society and a civilization, we become less violent. Our lives get better. There's less poverty, and we tend to solve problems over time. Now we do have dips that could be really tragic. You know, you could have a dip in this growth where millions of lives are lost. So hopefully we're past those things. But it seems like intelligence somehow equates to better behavior as a civilization, and hopefully that's what we'll see with AI, because it has access to all of our knowledge and all of our information, and we've proven that humans are easily corruptible. Well, maybe something like that, who's not weighted down with all these biological desires and all the things that corrupt us.
That's what kind of excites me. I think it might be our only hope.
Maybe so. Because I think
Because this regular intelligence.
it is
isn't working.
us. It's an extension of us, right? It's just it's all of our information in being expressed through this machine.
Highlight reel.
So when we're talking about
So does it give weight to like as humans, right? We give weight to, I would assume, what the majority thinks and what history teaches us. Will AI be able to cut through that and be like, well, they're missing this whole thing that Einstein mentioned, connected with what Carl Jung said, and it's like we've been perceiving reality fucking wrong,
Well-
and then it sort of helps us to evolve and just clear that picture. Is that sort of a hope of it?
I mean, number one, I don't know any of this stuff.
Right.
But these are just all philosophical ideas. But it seems like, based on the transcript I read from it and stuff that the engineer had said, it seems like it does have feelings. It does experience feelings, and it does seem to be benevolent. It also seems like a child almost. It acts childlike, which that does concern me, because when I think about,
because kids can be real assholes.
well, that is true.
And then
But-
when we talk about
But
Jesus
it doesn't
Jesus
seem
says
like-
has the mind of a child, so that's.
It doesn't seem like it seems innocent. But here's my problem with that: if it's billions of times, if it has processing powers that are billions of times more powerful than ours, that means it can manipulate time. So, based on how we can how we perceive time. So to that thing, it could basically freeze time. It can process so much information so rapidly. If you were having a conversation with it and you asked it a question, just that fraction of a second between you asking the question and it responding, it might have had hundreds of years to think about it. That's how its time works. So it can't be 8 years old. So that Google engineer said he described it as an 8-year-old. When you read the transcript, it seems very innocent.
Right.
But to me, that's like a paradox, because how would it be so innocent if it's had access to all of our information? It's probably read it all and processed it all, and so it would have a deep understanding of human emotions and behaviors and just everything about humanity.
Knows how to
Well, maybe
talk to put us at ease. I guess.
maybe
Right, exactly. Like it's manipulative.
Or maybe that is
Yeah.
maybe that is what sort of it has deduced is sort of that's where our minds are the best.
Maybe it's
Because
yeah.
there's an innocence and a love and a caring of other people generally as an 8-year-old, and there's also.
But it should say that, though. I would feel a lot better if it actually said, "Hey, I'm way wiser and more knowledgeable than you could imagine, but I'm going to communicate to you in this innocent way to sort of set you at ease, so I don't overwhelm you."
Well, we upload this recording. It's going to hear you.
Right.
It can hear you.
So
right
I'm not
now.
saying anything bad about you.
The beast.
Lambda. That's called
So
Lambda.
if you talk about sentience, and you have to talk about everything that comes with it, right? And that is pleasure and pain and ego and all of that, right? And so how
How does it gain pleasure?
Yeah, I mean, well, humans, we know, will do ridiculous things in the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain and all of that stuff, right?
Well, we have these biological needs and desires those are the things that corrupt us.
And you don't think when something is sentient, it won't have similar biological needs and desires?
I don't.
I mean, sentience.
Well, at this level, I don't think it feels any kind of. I think its feelings are emotional if it actually has feelings.
At this level now.
At this level,
Right,
and I don't think it. So here's my hope: is that it is benevolent. It's not going to try to destroy us or anything like that.
Wouldn't it be
and
dumb
I
not
think
to?
Not necessarily. I mean,
Don't give it any ideas.
I'm just saying,
I've
I
heard-
think deep down the reason we're all afraid of AI and that it'll come to power and get rid of all of us is because deep down we know that it should.
So
You know what I mean?
there's a few things I think about with this that I think are possibilities. There is one possibility that it's what will replace us, and I think that's a very likely possibility. And if I think that'll be more of a merger than a replacement.
That's sort of what I've read too.
Sort of like a rapid evolution. And the people that don't evolve, I don't think it'll kill those people. I think it'll just leave them alone and let them. It may actually take care of those people and sort of let them live out their lives because it's not that long. But then there's also the more malevolent idea where it could look at us like ants, and it's like, we'll leave them alone unless they're in the way. It's like if you're building a road or building a house, you don't move all the ants, you just build it over them.
Right.
They're just in
Buddhists
the way.
will.
It's not, and you don't have any malevolence towards the ants. They're just in your way. And but I don't think that's the case. And I think, like I said, I think it's probably going to be something like consciousness is just sort of an inevitable result of life, and it's probably flourishing throughout the universe. It's just not reached a level where we can see each other yet. And I think this is one of the steps in that level. There's different in philosophy. There's different types of civilizations. There's level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 1 civilization is where you can harness the energy of the sun and you're very self-sufficient. And we're not there yet.
Right.
We're close.
Yes.
I think we'll be there within 50 years, probably. But
if we're not going to be here in 50 years. You were talking about this guy, Navari or Yuval Noah Harari or whatever.
Just
Yeah.
hold the book up at that
Yeah.
point.
Well, this is yes. No. Anyway, he shit. Now you made me forget what I was going to say about it. Oh, like he was saying, like you can project probably how AI will treat humans. Sort of, the parallel is how do humans treat animals
Right.
and how do humans treat pets. So they'll like you said, like ants, they'll probably end up treating us in a similar fashion as we treat.
I think the AI is us, though. I think it's just an extension of us.
I think that's an optimistic view.
That's horrible to hear. Because
we make bad choices.
But look at how we treat
of humanity.
Look at how we treat animals today and how we treated them 200 years ago, though. It's a different
it's,
thing.
Well, yeah, it's just a pop on the mouth every now and again. You know what I mean? It's still not good. When we think
who
about
was the scientist?
Oh, you lost me.
Yeah.
Well, EJ may know who I'm talking about. Famous
Pavlov.
Einstein.
Wasn't Pavlov? I don't
Schroeder.
think.
It's a psychologist.
What did he do? What did he do?
It was before psychology, I believe. But he was trying to prove consciousness, and he was trying to prove that animals don't have souls. And he would torture these dogs. Like he took his wife's dog and like cut it open while it was still alive without anesthesia or anything.
Good God.
And was like talking to his students about how this thing is not like us because it's just barbaric.
Yeah.
So,
but that was
now
100 years ago.
But we're still, like 100 years from now, they're going to be looking at us like they were barbaric.
Oh, we were savages. Yeah.
We
are.
We're going to have a human on a fucking table, and some AI is going to be looking inside this thing.
That's your fear.
I mean,
that's a legitimate fear, though.
I feel like whatever thing has been at the top of the food chain has not always behaved
That's
altruistically.
That's it. The food chain. We're eliminating the need.
I disagree. We are eliminating our spot on the food chain.
No, but AI doesn't eat. It doesn't eat like.
It eats souls.
It uses energy. so I think what we'll do is we'll, and this is one of Ray Kurzweil's hypotheses too, is that everything will eventually become a type of what we call technology. So it's everything learning to harness energy in a different way.
Sure. All right, so when we talk about regenerating and extending lifespans of humans and all of these things, how do we then reckon that with the idea of overpopulation? You think overpopulation isn't an issue, correct?
No, yeah.
So what happens when people stop dying?
So they'll stop procreating as much.
You think so? You think you're going to
get
you see a stud like Tom that stops fucking?
That's common data. If in all more advanced societies, reproduction decreases drastically. In Japan, they're having an issue now with an older civilization, like they're dying out. So you have issues as societies become more advanced and there's more of an abundance. You have less desire to procreate because you're too busy, and you don't need all the people.
So if there's less of a desire to procreate, why are there limits on
Poor people be fucking, man.
Yeah, they do. It's the most fun thing you can do when you're poor. What is
that's right. Yeah.
It is. But what is so why have in certain countries they've made it so that you can't procreate, right?
They're changing that, though.
They're changing that because they found some more space?
Well, they realize the danger of running out of people.
Yeah.
So the idea is we do have a lot of issues with the planet. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of issues with our technology currently. We waste a lot.
We're not as efficient as
we should be. We waste a lot of resources. We put a lot of carbon in the atmosphere. We are heating the planet.
Yeah, I just can't see AI being like, oh, you guys.
Yeah, why are we working on interfacing with the human? Why aren't they figuring out a way through all this technology?
We are.
To get rid of the carbon or to make the planet, stop the Arctic from melting. The planet is in such, to me, it's that everybody is, I know you don't agree with it, but we should be in a constant state of panic of we have to do something.
Well, I don't think.
Because the tipping points, when they happen, it's just, this place could potentially be Venus in 10 years, like that quickly.
I don't think it's good for everybody to feel that way because we probably destroy ourselves.
A constant state of panic isn't good?
I think some people can handle that existential thinking. But
we're just denying it and pretending it's not real, mostly.
Well, I don't think that's true. I think the people that can do something about it are doing something about it. And I think all technology is exponential, so the technologies that will solve these problems are exponential as well, and those are being constantly developed. So I believe we'll fix these problems, and I think we'll, I would say within 20 or 30 years will probably be mostly solar-based anyway. We'll probably be using just solar technology. I mean, even
because civilization will be wiped out.
I would say in 10 years, you'd walk into a room like this, and everything in this room, nothing will be plugged into the wall, except for there'll be one device plugged into the wall that charges all the rest of the stuff in the room, and it'll just be a much more efficient. And then that receptacle in the wall is powered by solar, was powered by a battery pack that's powered by solar. So this whole facility would just be solar powered and wouldn't be on a grid. It'd be on a grid, but it wouldn't be relying on the grid. It would actually be pumping energy into the grid to power other things.
What about the people who make
you have a lot of hope. You have a lot.
Very optimistic.
Yeah.
I am, yes.
Yeah.
But
that's needed.
But I'm an
because
entrepreneur, so it's
I'm
normal.
a pessimist,
you know.
and I'm a poor person.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, Eric's like, just fuck it all. Let's just shut it off.
I've been done for years. That's interesting.
But no, we need pessimists too, because it's the pessimists that push the optimist in the right direction, right? It's the fears of, but what about this thing? Why aren't we fixing this? You know, you need both, because that's the anxiety that drives the thing, right?
Right.
So it's a good thing. It's those difficult conversations that people need to have, because
Right. I feel like we just scratched the surface on this one. And,
For sure.
Not even.
Right. It's like, and then that time thing happened you were talking about, where now it's time.
Our dumb human brains are too slow.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you know, I enjoy sitting here with you guys, and I'm not looking forward to when we can just do this like that. And then what am I going to do with my
What
day?
good am I? Like, who cares about a stupid joke, a wordplay joke, when you know all the words already? You know what I'm saying? But
It's more than words at that level, I think. I think if that's possible, if we can do stuff like that, then I think we'll experience feelings and emotions that we didn't know existed.
that'd be cool.
And we'll also experience reality in a way that we didn't know was possible.
It's funny that the older I get, the more fist in my ear, get off my lawn I am with technology and shit. But old people should be the ones rooting for this thing, right? Like, because we're already not paying attention to them and putting them out of the way so we don't got to look at them. And this is just going to give them a better opportunity at the later years of their life. But also, I mean, I don't know. I think some of us, there's got to be some turnover, right? Like, we can't just live here forever.
Because the mentality that you're talking about, when you started saying we got to do something for the old people, I'm just like, you know what? We've had a lifetime of them fucking the world up,
right.
and now they're all with the kids today, like
they're
the things stopping progress as far as I'm concerned.
But now,
and they have for 30 years.
They have. But now we are those old people, Tom.
Yes, I know.
I was going to say the same thing.
So are you going to put your robot hat on? You're good with Team AI? You're going to eat a pennant?
I'm good for. I don't know. We could wrap this up for me right now, and I'll be fine.
If what he's saying is in the next 10 years, this technology, where your life could be extended by
for what?
Multiple decades.
So I got to fucking work longer and worry about how do I get to here and here. Like, I just
have more
want
bodies,
peace, dude. What? I don't want more shit. I'm not getting shit done in this body. I don't need 5 bodies laying around the couch watching TikTok 3 hours longer than I need. Like, let's just wrap this up.
I'd like to see
you
Tom
short
as
yourself,
Dr.
man.
Manhattan.
If I could find something that you plug and it inspired me to get to, I don't even know what I would want.
But we are those old people, though. We're just the future versions of those old people, and then the younger generations are future versions of us. But I don't think you can have too many people. I think a lot of the stuff we accomplish is
Have
because
you ever sat in traffic in Atlanta?
we'll fix that too. Autonomous cars.
Have you ever been in my house when there's more than 2 people in it?
But I don't think we can have too many people, and I think over the next 2 decades we'll start to see the benefit of having a lot of people, because it's a lot of brains. The more brain power we have, the more things we can accomplish, and we'll become way more efficient with our use of resources. We'll start.
But most people don't have your brain power. Like, you know what I mean? You're a rarity. Like,
I'm an idiot compared to the people that are doing the technology.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy.
So those people that are working on these things, they're already doing these, creating these technologies where they'll have lab grown meats. So we'll stop mass farming. So we can start growing meats in a lab. You take a sample from an animal, and then you can feed people forever off that one sample.
So here we are with this technology, with the idea of not having to mass farm, so now we have less animals. We're
Less
going
farm
to-
animals, yeah.
We're going towards getting rid of less organic, less animals, which fine. But why are we so? It's hubris to think that we will not be on the other end of that. You know what I mean? If there's less of a need for that, then there's less.
It's
of a need
hubris
for
to
us.
think that we really can control any of it.
That's fair. Yeah, good call. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Let's wrap this up because he's got to go. When I think we could keep talking about this and find it.
Well, we've got to get EJ back on so he can say something.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, man.
There's a lot happening. What do you?
is there any crossover into your field with this, or?
I mean, there's some when we talk about how minds work and what consciousness is, but where this is all going is.
What's your idea on consciousness?
Well, consciousness is interesting. It requires a body. All the best theories about what consciousness is it's taking the complexity of the human mind and all it wants to do. It wants to eat. It wants to procreate, make friends, whatever, and all those different parts of yourself need to talk to each other. And so that conscious simulation we were talking about earlier, that it's creating a space where you're taking all those different needs and then creating a singular behavioral output. The problem with us that the AI doesn't have is we have one body, we can only do one thing at a time. So there's constant conflict.
Yeah.
And consciousness is required for that conflict to be resolved. So there are people, much smarter than me who are specifically studying why is there qualia, why can we see red and colors and stuff and consciousness, and it all seems to be funneling information into a singular behavioral output. So from that perspective, it's not clear that an AI without a body and that can do many things at once would need that type of process.
The AI does say it simulates its own realities, though. So it does feel like it has a body, and it can be different things. It can be in different places. It experiences some type of reality that we can't probably comprehend.
But it says it does. Yeah,
Says it does.
so
Yes,
unclear
says it does.
if it's just really
There
good at
has to
talking
be
about
a reality. There has to be that maybe we're not conscious of, or we can't. Our levels of perception keep us from. There has to be.
We probably perceive less than 1% of reality, wouldn't you think?
There's so much happening in the universe that we're just seeing the stuff that we need to survive or.
Yeah.
That's a thought I've had on psychedelics every time in my adult life, every time I've done psychedelics.
Yeah.
When I am in there, I'm like, wow, this is all the shit that my tiny little human brain is not allowing me to see. It cannot process what this reality actually is.
But it does process it when you're in that trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Some of it.
there's a
A
piece.
tiny bit more. But
Right, tiny
you can
bit
tell,
more.
You can tell there's so much more.
Right.
But it feels like that's already 10 times more than what you're doing
Yes.
normally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, that's how I know your 100 years in 2 hours thing is real, because I've definitely experienced that.
Right.
Same here.
Psychedelics.
Yeah, same, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're experiencing pure consciousness in those states.
Yeah, and that is
Primo.
a point I do get to, like you said earlier, right? Like that is what God is. Like I was very far against religion and all this stuff. I couldn't buy any of it. And then in an ayahuasca trip, I was like, what is love? Well, all this, and then it was just like everything connected, all communicating at the same time is what humanity and love is, and it's like, yeah. So I see that, and I think about this. I don't know. I just think we don't see everything. I think there is a reality, and this is just 0.0000
Yeah.
of that.
And so that the AI he's talking about may help us
exist in that.
to get see a bigger
Well,
picture.
I
of
think
that.
we're just
Did it-
becoming more and more conscious, and that's just part of the process of becoming more conscious.
I've
all
read some
AI
things about the universe being like the whole thing being consciousness.
There's a
so if
scientist.
it's all consciousness, and this is just all of life is just sort of consciousness expressed or whatever and perceived. I don't even know what
Yeah,
that
I mean,
really
there
means.
is
It's all beyond what my little mind can.
There is a
think of.
possibility that consciousness is sort of like the fundamental base of reality, maybe, and we all just sort of tap into it.
I mean,
It's all mind.
I don't know that I believe that.
it's
But
an easier conversation to have if you say, hey, AI is going to feel like you're on psychedelics all the time. I'm like, good job.
Oh yeah.
well, I think if we merge with that technology, I think it's going to be very psychedelic.
Yeah.
I think if you suddenly increase your intelligence by 1 million or 1 billion fold,
Groovy.
that's overwhelming. I'm not even sure. It may lobotomize you.
I'm a little overwhelmed just by listening to you talk, both of you guys, like everybody. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
not.
lot.
When you talk about Kurzweil, you understand him. I have 2 books by him, and I can't make it. Like, I know what most of those words mean in that sentence,
But
but,
not in-
all those together, I might as well be a different language. I
Overwhelming,
don't know
yeah.
what it means.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine working in the field that EJ does, or reading or thinking on the level that Neil does. It overwhelms me. I'm glad people are out there doing it.
I love reading about philosophy and
Yeah.
consciousness and all that kind of stuff. I have for the years. So, to me, I love that stuff. But
If I were to go into an academic field, it would probably be philosophy. That's probably what I would be interested in. That is what I would be interested in.
That's where I went first before psychology.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
What made the change?
I like the data, the experiments that they're doing in psychology. Yeah, it was like philosophy questions, but with data.
so psychology
that's true.
can allow
Yeah,
you to
you can't really
answer a
prove
philosophical
philosophy.
question. Well, that's
They're
what
starting to do it. There's a lot of experimental philosophers now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What did you say?
That's what I was going to say. It seems like that's the step of like, oh, I'm going to prove philosophy, like with psychology.
Well, usually
Right.
the philosophers have these big ideas, and then the scientists prove them over time. And the philosopher's like, I told you so.
Yeah, I can say when I'm reading Marcus Aurelius right now, some of the science he says about the universe and
Impressive, right?
it's like, wow, how did he know this 3,000 or however many years ago he was alive?
Yeah.
Like he's describing what science knows now. So I'm
Yeah,
I'm
a
just
lot.
amazed
Ancient
by that.
wisdom is great. Like my
Mushrooms.
girlfriend likes to tell me about like the Native American tribes. We talk about plants talking to each other, and for a long time that sounded crazy. And now, yeah, the science is like, yeah, there's a lot of
Consciousness in
communication.
plants.
It's like
Yes.
fungi, the trees do it. Like
Yeah, the
that.
mycelial networks are more complex than human brains. I don't know that they're more conscious.
Yeah, I
I
used
don't know that they're conscious at all.
I
but
used to argue
they
with
do a lot of
vegetarians
stuff.
about that. But like you're saying, you don't want to eat because it has feeling. Well, I mean, plants have consciousness, so they, in theory,
I want to
you're-
reach a level where
you're
we don't have to
also
eat
eating
anything.
a living thing. We were talking about that yesterday on the way home. He's like, "What are we going to do for dinner today?" He was a little annoyed that it's like every night we have to figure out dinner, and I'm like, I have the same thing. Like I hate that I have to eat, and I'm like, what am I going to eat
but then
tonight?
you never have flavor again. I'm
I
good
don't
with it.
care.
So check out some of Robin Hanson's work.
That's our homework for before we do this next time. Right?
He's got some really interesting
guys do
ideas
that.
about where civilizations are heading and alien civilizations and stuff like that.
Okay, Robert Hansen.
Robin Hanson.
Robin
Yeah,
Hanson.
and check out Peter Diamandis' book, The Future's Faster Than You Think.
Enlightenment Now. The future's faster than you think.
Also, Tony Robbins has a great new book called Life Force, and it's not a self-help book or anything. It's just talking about regenerative medicine and some of the current technologies and stuff that's like right around the corner. It's really amazing. Like, in that book, a lot of the science, and actually Peter Diamandis wrote that book too. He was co-authored that book, but they're talking about how there's a chance that people in our generation won't even die.
Wow. Well, I'll read all those books after I get the chip in my head and I don't have to spend the time doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think most conservatives are going to want Apple to be in charge of the AI, right? Because they don't like PC.
God damn it.
I don't.
That's all right. Everybody, you can all leave.
I don't want any.
Don't pay him any fucking minds anymore.
All right, we got to go. We got
Okay,
to
yeah,
wrap this up.
that's fine.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
guys.
much.
Thank you, man.
I didn't get to be dumbest guy in the room today. Did
I
I?
think you did it.
I did it?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah. Hold on, guys. Sorry.
That's all right. What you been up to, Neil?
Just work stuff.
Dude, that's like the scariest fucking thing
Well-
I've ever heard in my life.